4 million population, and then at the same time, okay, you take another county like Kilifi with less than 1 million voters, so to speak, and you actually give them more money than Kiambu. And the people of Mount Kenya, what they have been arguing is that we are not really allocating money to animals, to trees, to land, and everything else. We are actually allocating this money to go and assist individuals. Now, the argument from the other side is some of these places have always lagged behind. You go to places like Kajiado, you go to places like Mandela, they're telling you we do not have the kind of amenities that you would actually find in Nyeri, in Embu, and other places, and that kind of thing and all that. Now, let's come to the point here. So when we are talking about how do we share, for the last 7 years, the first basis revenue sharing formula, the second basis, and now we are about to get to the third one, we have been allocating more money to regions that we thought that were less developed, so that they can catch up with us. We have been allocating...
That was the basis of the third and second basis formula.
Those were actually the basis. Now, what the Mount Kenya are arguing is that we have already done so for 7 years, so to speak, when we actually actualized the devolution. For 7 years, we have been actually doing so. So for Turkana, for the last 7 years, if it was supposed to be developed, by now we should actually be seeing exactly what that investment has done. We should be seeing...
So you're trying to say, just a minute, because this is the argument that is being advanced in Mount Kenya. You're trying to say you've given them 7 years to catch up, like Mount Kenya took 7 years to develop the way it is today.
Let's come to that point. Let's come to that point. What are the factors that really fueled to the development of Mount Kenya? Because it's important to note that. What are the factors that really fueled to the development of Mount Kenya? Because again, we could be sharing a lot of resources to places that will never come up. For some reason. Because there is also the attitude and the attitude of the people, of the residents around there, and what they do with the places. Now, why Mount Kenya perhaps has really developed is, number one, because of the proximity to the city. And nobody is really discussing about that. The proximity to the city has actually favored Mount Kenya to really develop, because we all get the heat from the city. So therefore, by the time that something is reaching, by the time Wi-Fi and 4G is reaching Madera, it is already in Kiambu. It is already in Machakos. It is already in the other place. You get what I mean? And I know Kama want to interject, but let me just finish and say the following. Some of the factors that have really fueled development in Mount Kenya are quite natural. That's what I'm trying to say. Are quite natural. Let's really understand that Mount Kenya has not really been favored, so to speak, by resources in the government. There could be 1 or 2 factors that have been there. For instance, Mount Kenya has actually enjoyed leadership. We have had 3 presidents from this region. There could be 1 or 2, aspects like those ones.
Proximity to power.
Proximity to power. But I would also want to say something. I would also want to say something, because it's important when we come here, we have a very honest conversation. If you take the 15 years that Mzee Jomo Kenyatta ruled this country, you add those ones to the years Mwai Kibaki. Mzee Kibaki.
Those are 10 years.
Those are 10 years. Those are 25 years. Okay? Now, by the virtue that we started this in 2012, I want to stop there. So just to compare this and contrast. By the virtue that those are 25 years, we had another president who ruled this country for 24 years.
Continuously.
Now the question would be, is Baringo equal to Nyeri today? Because we have had the same span of years.
Maybe one would argue that the president who ruled for 24 years was more, spread in terms of spreading development than the 25 years this
not necessarily. If we say so, then the proximity to power makes no sense. So to speak. That's what I'm trying to say. And let's be focused and look at it. Why is Baringo, where the home county of the president, that president himself, why is not it really developed the way Nyeri is? Why is it not really developed the way Nakuru is? There is also the perception of the people. I'm saying, if we are looking at that angle in terms to do with proximity of power and all that, this country have had, Machakos has really produced very high profile kind of people in this country. But Makueni still, we can't really say Makueni is at the same level with
but I think, JJ, my friend is ruling out something very important. If you compare Baringo and Nyeri, there's an underlying factor that have made those people lag behind.
The Baringo people.
Yes.
And that is?
Culture. Even today, they're still doing pastoralism, right?
Okay.
Even after 24 years of Moi being in power, there's nothing that they did that could improve their lives.
And the culture for the Mount Kenya region is what?
We work, we invest. You get the point? Go there. After
So pastoralism too
No,
is not work.
what I'm saying.
Hold on.
Hold a minute. Eh?
Pastoralism too is not work.
So proximity to power to us is not necessarily what have made us to grow. That's one.
It is proximity.
Ask yourself this question. This formula that the second and the first and the second was formulated when we had a president in power coming from our region.
Okay.
Right? This constitution, we got it when we had a president from our region. So if you are disadvantaged by the formulas, then it means the president who was in power by then was from our region. So he knew that at one point in time, we will be crying the way we are crying today. You get the point? So having power, having president from our side, have not really benefited.
What really exactly, so that at least we hit the nail on the head, what really exactly brings this perception that Mount Kenya region is well advanced and well ahead of other regions when you compare?
Can we just
we have an educated population. That's one. Two, yes, of course. Kiambu is the most populated with the high school, with the best high schools, the best universities are in Kiambu and Nairobi, right? So we have an educated population. Two, job opportunities are at least a higher chance in Kiambu and Nairobi than that person from Baringo. Right. So we can attribute those factors to the way we are in Kiambu. Okay. But don't bring in the issue of proximity to power and all those things. It's our hard work that makes us who we are.
Now,
interesting.
it's very interesting to listen to Mheshimiwa Kagoni and Mr. Maina say what they say about us. It's a sad affair.
Who is the us here?
Now they're saying Mount Kenya region benefits or has been benefiting from 1963, when we got this government. Our is it natural? What do you call? The rules.
Proximity
now,
to
let me tell you. Let me take you to history.
Yes.
There is a reason why our colony came and settled around where? Mount Kenya. This is what they needed. This is what they got from Mount Kenya. Are we together? What they got from Mount Kenya, and we learned, like he's saying, the culture. And I'll tell you one thing. That guy who has a herd of animals, he's more richer than a guy who has gone to school and doing some other things. So let's not forget that these people, they know what they are doing, but they hide their wealth where we can't see.
Who are these people?
I want to say, like they mentioned Baringo, we also mentioning about Northeastern. And I would want to tell my Mheshimiwa Kagoni, the people who use internet and who use mobile telephone in Kenya much are the people from Northern region. They are the people who are benefiting from that affair long. And my point is this: what has their leaders been doing all these years? Because remember, you can't hide yourself in devolution, which has been with us for few years. What about so other many years that you've had their leaders? How does a country develop? How does a place develop? It is when, like he said, the culture. You understand? How do you grow a town? It's when you get down and do the things that are supposed to be done on that town. And then you find your way. That's how you create road. If they've not been doing that, let it not be brought to the people of Mount Kenya that what we didn't do then and what we don't have is because of you people. You get what I'm saying? Because the formula has shown it's becoming a bit political. You've seen today Murkomen and Senator Linturi and Akina Sakaja being mentioned on this, like they are pitching tent against them and Mount Kenya. And that is what we need to say. The motion that was adjourned, let it be. Let them take even a whole year with what they want to do, but let it be a win-win for everyone. And let it not be seen like we are the one who need money. In actual sense, we can stay without that formula until they agree and we'll be okay. But let it be a formula that will set this country into a conversation that will give an equal chance to every Kenyan living.
So what do you mean by win-win formula?
Win-win formula. We had a censure in 2019, which you said we are going to cover on that. That formula of the population that was captured in 2019, let it put on the table so that every other person benefits as a GDP.
You appear to suggest that we use the 2019 census formula, revert back to the second basis formula.
To be in the win-win and also to include in the second
But we
basis
could be missing a point
Yes.
here. We could be missing a point here. You see, we can't really focus ourselves just on population alone as the only factor and forget. When you are constructing roads, okay? When you are constructing roads,
Yes.
you don't construct roads from person A to person B. It's basically according to the way the terrain looks
Point
like.
A to B.
It's point A to B.
And
not
where does
from
the road
person
go
A,
to?
Wait a minute.
Not
Yeah.
from person A to person B.
Okay.
You know, we need to appreciate some of these things.
All right.
When we are talking about things like resources like water, we need to appreciate that it is not every region that is next to a mountain. So therefore, to get water for certain people, actually, you will need to really do much infrastructure than you will do to another place, so to speak. We need to appreciate that. And that will go on even to health facilities and to many other things, so to speak, and all that. Because, for instance, ask yourself,
Yes.
when you're working with a terrain like a terrain of Isiolo, so to speak,
Yes.
how do you connect them to safe drinking water, so to speak?
Yes.
Would the cost be the same as that one of connecting water to the people of Kiambu?
No.
Would the cost be the same as connecting water to the people of Murang'a? Okay, and when we look at issues like that, so maybe we should be actually dealing with, and I hear what Kamau is saying in terms of a win-win situation. Maybe the question here would be to check and say, what is the cost of actually providing service A to this region? And what is the cost of actually providing service B to this particular region? Maybe that would be the best way to look at it. When we divide it and we say that, and our constitution is very clear because it has interests that it has safeguarded very well. Some of them actually in the Bill of Rights, others actually are taken care of by the values in Article 10. And the point would be, everybody, every Kenyan is supposed to access safe drinking water.
Yes.
What does that mean to a person in Mandela? What does that mean to a person in Marsabit? What does that mean to a person elsewhere? Maybe we look at issues like that. Every person is supposed to get basic education. What does that mean to somebody who is operating in Baringo, where actually even getting a school is a problem? Would you allocate them a similar amount of money the same way you would do to somebody in Nairobi who actually has access from schools, you know, like schools are even next to each other?
Okay.
And Bwana Kagoni, just let me make a clarification here. The government does not develop, people do. So when you're here, the government will bring in roads. The government cannot create somewhere a road that leads nowhere. Are we together? So when you get together, wait a minute. The other day, leaders from northeastern go together and they cautioned, go to KRA and see who pays more taxes than when you're saying you're the people who are contributing more to. If you contribute more to the KRA in terms of taxes, show where you work and go work with your people. Show them this is how we build a house and this house needs a road. Tell that government to bring you road where you are. But if you're not working where your people are, when you get work, you don't go and develop where you come from, like the people of Mount Kenya do. Someone will come from Nairobi, go to Murang'a where I come from, and start a shop. That shop, 1-2 days when the truck is bringing in things, the trucks will get stuck on the road. The next thing is, wataongea na Mheshimiwa Kagoni, mwambie Mheshimiwa Kagoni tuletee hii nini barabara. If you sure you contribute much to the tax whatever KRA and whatever they are calling it, show us where you work. Then tell the government to bring you, because the discussion here, the discussion here is about revenue sharing.
Yes.
It is not about work, like Kagoni said. So this is a small portion of the money that should go to the region, which takes.
Hold on a minute. For example, you have a person in Mandera who needs to go to a hospital that is about 30 kilometers away from where they are.
Yes.
You wouldn't actually paint that position when you talk about Mount Kenya. For example, for a person in Kiambu to go to a dispensary, it's just like about 4 or 5 kilometers away from where they are.
Yeah.
In Mandera, they would have to cover 30 kilometers from one point to the other to get to the dispensary. And the question would be, then would you argue then that there's no need to develop a road where they would get to the hospital faster?
And I would ask, is Mandera in Kenya?
It is.
Have they been having representatives since this country got independent.
They have.
What has their leaders been doing since then? Now that we are talking about this called ijembe ya devolution, wanasema hawezi lima. What have they been doing to their people all along and all these days? Because the treasury or the finance, the treasury has been allocating.
In existence since then.
They existed. So what have they been doing? Because everything is painted.
I want to take it to you, Maina, before you respond, and very quickly on this one. Before devolution, and I still want to bring this, and maybe it's just a cracker for the mind. That before devolution, that power was concentrated somewhere, and the people of Mount Kenya region used to benefit from that arrangement. Because immediately after devolution, Wajir County was the first county to do a Caesarean section inside that county. They were able to do it because of devolution. Then, what is the concept of devolution? If we are going to argue that money should go and develop people, what was the concept of devolution about? Because it was really about marginalized people anyway.
So I think we should first appreciate the concept of devolution. Yes. It have really worked.
Okay.
And it have really transformed lives. But maybe if I go back a little bit, before we go to devolution, remember he had 24 years reign,
yes.
President Moi. That's when the economy did poorly. You get the point?
Yes.
When Kibaki was coming in, the country had no money, right?
Yeah.
So when you're coming to have the concept of devolution, we are coming in our mind realizing that there are so many regions that have been marginalized. And that's why that concept of marginalization in our constitution came in. You get the point?
Yes.
So we are trying to develop people and their regions. But I would differ with what Kagon was saying.
Yes.
Yes, it's true, Madeira, if you need to go to a dispensary, maybe you go 30 kilometers. But does those kilometers guarantee a government to build a superhighway in Madeira? Because that's what is causing a lot of infrastructure in our country. You get maybe from Nairobi to Madeira, they construct a road 50 kilometers worth 100 billion. Is that really worthy? How much production does it come from Madeira to Nairobi? You get the point? So the government, I think what government did that was wrong, you focus so much on infrastructure, then you exaggerated the price and exaggerated the project. Because I think a dual carriage from Nairobi to Mandera would be enough, but not a superhighway like this one, right? You build a superhighway of 50 billion there, how much does it, will that road be worthy, that 50 billion? How much production will it bring from Mandera to Nairobi? I think that's where we got it wrong. But the cost of devolution have really worked in our country. They have really transformed life. Look at the account of Machakos. Everybody, as you are talking today, they have clean water. Go to Kitui, they have dispensaries. Yes. Before then, they were, the mothers used to give birth in the forest or whatever, right? But today they are celebrating, they have clean water, they have hospitals, so it have really worked. But those readers from regions like Saburu, you get a cost of devolution, but you steal everything. But you're still crying that you're not given enough money from the national government. So even their readers should wake up, because as I said earlier, if you get a good reader, development will come. Why is Machakos working so well today? Machakos. It's a pilot project. It's a pilot county. Everybody will be celebrating Machakos and Makueni. Why are they doing so well than other counties? Because they have good readership. Come to Samburu, come to Kiambu. Why are you complaining? Bad readership. So I think readers have a role that will attribute either development of the county or failure of the county.
Exactly.
I want us to take a break. Hold on a minute. I want us to take a break, because when we come back, we must ask ourselves a question. If the concept of the devolution is working, we were empowering, and I don't want us to focus so much on Northeastern because it's not the only loser. We have the likes of, Makueni and Kitui who are losing in terms of money. You're looking at Kilifi. If we have seen the concept of devolution work in these counties, then why would we want to negate or the very gains that have been made through this very division of revenue? And again, when we come back, we'll talk about entitlement. Does the Mount Kenya region think they're the only inhabitants in Kenya? It's a question to ask.
No.
We take a break. We'll be back. We're coming to you live from Lily's Hotel in Juja, just opposite or adjusted to the ACK Juja. And of course, you can just hop in here, have a wonderful night. Lily's Hotel, we take a break. When we come back, we shall escalate the conversation. Don't go too far. dialogues, and thank you very much for keeping a watch on what we're doing here. I just want very quickly to just read some of your comments as regards the conversation we're having here. And very quickly, we've got Robert Kahinde says, welcome back, guys, and thank you very much. Maggie Masharia says, let's get more about the formula, and we've already done that. Scholar Jiro says, Bwana Kagoni is early today. Yeah, the late comer today is performing quite well. Purity Njoki, how has Raila changed? Maggie Masharia says, I don't think the bill is fair. Wadima Crispa says, your conversation is not balanced. Is this about Kenya proponents only forum? Well, that's why I'm sitting here, so that I can, provide balance to the entire thing. Laura Jambi, how has Raila betrayed the country? That is about Kenya. Bill, and have Purity Njoki, who says the handshake is playing a very big part in the discussion. Jackson Muturi says this formula by Kangata doesn't have enough support. James Ngangara is topic. I love the show. And Mount Kenya has heavily been favored over the years. Maggie Macharia says Baringo people need to explain to us why they are slugging back while they had a president for 24 hours. And keep the conversation going, and drop your comments on the live section. We'll be reading them out as we continue. Jimmy Kagoni, we need to come back to this concept of devolution and ask ourselves, why were we bringing devolution in the first place? It's because we felt there was a concentration of power and resources around the top, and we needed to devolve it and bring empowerment right to the people. And at the heart of it was the concept of marginalization. That we feel there are sections of this country that have been left behind in terms of development. 7 years they have had this money. All of a sudden we think then we should take this money from them and perhaps allocate it on the basis of population. And then those who think then that is negating on the very aspect of what we called devolution.
Not exactly. Okay. And I find like that is where we are missing the point.
All right.
In regard to this conversation.
Okay.
And it's important even for the readers, especially from the regions that feel affected, to really explain to the people clearly what exactly is going on. No money is being taken away from them, so to speak.
All right.
What is happening is that there are certain areas who they thought maybe should actually give them a leeway for them to benefit, to have some certain privileges, that those areas are also being told, you can also be part of these privileges now. That's what we are trying to talk about.
Okay.
But let's get to the heart of the matter and say something. First of all, we are 7 years old into devolution.
Yes.
How has the money been utilized? When we say that when you add Wajir, the resources for Wajir, Tana River, Kilifi, and Marsabit, you get to resources of worth 40 billion in 1 year.
Okay.
I mean, people also need to justify what they have done with the money,
all right,
so to speak. Because, and this is not just...
And you will not leave that to Wajir and Tana River
not,
only.
Yeah, that is not
we can
just
also ask the governor of Murang'a how he's used
we
his
want
money,
even
right?
to ask what has Murang'a done with the resources they have received.
Okay.
What has Nyeri done with the approximately 28 billion they have received so far.
Yes.
We want to ask what has Kiambu been able to achieve with the resources they have got. And I think I'm getting to close to 40 billion so far, which they have received from the national government.
Yes.
That is also a conversation that we must have locally, maybe. And ask ourselves, by the way, do we even deserve more money?
Exactly.
Do we even deserve more money?
And that is why I'm saying,
what are we doing?
Yes.
What have we managed to do with the resources that we have received? Okay. Because I'll tell you for sure, Bwana Kioria, the wastage has really increased. The wastage has really increased.
And that's across the breadth.
That is across the breadth.
Okay.
That is across the breadth. I'm saying this because we are also addressing the senators, and we know some of them actually watch this show.
Okay.
It is important they also realize that they have a role to play when it comes to prudence. And prudence, by the way, it is something that is captured by Article 202 of our Constitution. The way you spend the money. How many times do you open your paper and you see that a tender has been cancelled? Something that has actually either an advert for cancelling an advert that was done prior. And you ask yourself, how much has been spent to do this? Who made the first mistake so that this one can be cancelled? So to speak, there's been a lot of wastage, that's for sure. The wage bill has really increased unnecessarily. I mean, you employ people that you don't need. You are not able to get value for your money. That has also really...
Is it exclusive to county governments? You also have the national government struggling with the same thing.
Maybe because we are discussing about devolution here, we need to check from that aspect. We need to check exactly how the counties have been able to perform when it comes to that. There is a lot of wastage. Of course, the corruption cases have also increased in the counties, so to speak. I mean, just the other day, all the counties were creating, and there were mushrooming village billionaires from nowhere, just like that. And when you check exactly what work has been done, zero. Can I shock you, Bwana Kioria? Out of the 14 functions of the devolution, out of the 14 functions that have actually been categorized to be done by the county government, so to speak, do you know a simple function like ECD has never been perfected by any single county government? A simple function like that one of ECD, like you can go and get model ECD classes, model ECD programs, none. So what are we saying? Just the other day, almost virtually every county was actually struggling with their health workers. Either the payroll is wrong, or the salaries are late, or the employees are few, or the non-pharmaceuticals are also not available when they are supposed to be available. I mean, look at that, the wastage and all that. And I know they would want to say that we have not had structures, there are teething problems, what have you.
Let me cut you short, Jimmy, because at some point maybe later we'll talk about the hits and misses of devolution. But there's a very simple question I asked you. That basis formula that we're talking about, doesn't it negate on the concept of devolution, where we're trying to bring resources to people that it can uplift them from what you would call systemic marginalization?
That's the misconception that I'm trying to talk about. The misconception that has actually been amplified by the leaders is that there are certain areas where resources are being removed and being taken to other. Let me tell you, this is not a merry-go-round. That's not what we are trying to say. It's not like resources were in Kajiado, now we want them to go to Kakamega. That's not the point, so to speak. And by the way, I don't know why we are even concentrating ourselves to speak about the Mount Kenya when we know Kisii is benefiting from this, when we know Kakamega is benefiting from this, when we know Siaya is benefiting from this. I mean, we need to speak that Kakamega is actually the second gainer in this.
But the senator is in the Senate saying, let's talk about a win-win for me.
Yes, because this has also become a political, and I guess why you even invited us here is so that now we move away from the political discussion to a more rational, to a more rational kind of a discussion, to actually really help our viewers and the Kenyans at large to actually understand. And this is my point. What we are trying to say, and what I understand, is that we are saying, can we make Kajiado enjoy the same privileges that have been enjoyed in Kakamega? Can we make Kisii enjoy the same privileges that have been enjoyed by Nairobi? That's basically what we are trying to say.
Yes. Simply what Kagoni is trying to explain here is just simple. Take us, for example, for West Pokot. So they have a very good ECD program. I have seen it running very properly, right? They had that, the one in Murang'a, but I think Murang'a collapsed. But the fact is, they get 12 billion, right? We get 9 billion in Kiambu. So the question is, is this formula negating the impact or the achievement of devolution? No,
it doesn't.
The formula is trying to solve or to correct an injustice that have already have happened. A student in West Pokot will be awarded a bursary of 100,000. Here in Juja, a student will be awarded 5,000. These are the same students in the same country. Is it fair? In a Rayman perspective, is it fair? It's not. So you find yourself, you ask yourself a question, is it worthy giving that 12 billion where we know that in West Pokot, the only thing they will do, they push all their students to go to universities, but there's no development that will come out of that cash. But in Kiambu here, you'll not get a good hospital because the money that will be allocated here is not even enough to do one hospital. You get the point? So the impact of devolution are not being negated by the formula. The formula is trying to correct an injustice that have already happened. So the formula will propagate equity, devolution will continue to run.
All right. Very fair point to make there. Just to finish on this. Because I'm going to give you an opportunity. And this is where I want us to get, because it's solving an injustice, so you claim.
Yes.
And very quickly, because this is the feeling out there, you've heard from the section of comments we have here, is the feeling of entitlement by the Mount Kenya region. Like, you simply are the fulcrum of the economy of the country, and without you people, we have no country.
Let me take you back, JJ.
Yes.
And I want people to understand basic operations of people of Mount Kenya. We don't have much resources as they would want to put. We don't have land, okay? And we generate from the list of things that you would think, okay? Some of us don't even have an acre of land where we come from, but we try to go and establish ourselves somewhere else. And this discussion we are having here, and the point you've put about entitlement is very insulting, so to speak, with all due respect, because this discussion that is in the Senate, I can predict in future is going to go to the national government, and these who are pushing against any gain, simple gain, which is not necessarily for Mount Kenya region, is going to go to the parliament, is going to go to the national government, and they are going to say that you guys, if you don't realize yourself that you've got it all, and they have the land, they have other resources, like I had the governor of Murang'a the other day talking about water. So we need to know, and I'm talking on behalf of Mount Kenya people, I'm talking on behalf of them. Their entitlement, whatever you call it, and I believe you're from Mount Kenya region, it is their humility that makes them have something. Why do I say that? Because if now we are talking about 316 billion to the counties, the rest of the money goes where and who takes it? You understand? And what I'm saying in my basic submission is that the government does not develop a region per se. It is the people who live there who develop, and the government brings in infrastructure, water, and everything. Let me say, now, this political manipulation that is being brought by these people telling us, the people of Mount Kenya, that you have had it all. I want to say, the upper region said we contribute more to the taxes, to the tax kit, and we saying let them show us what work they do with their people and their contribution, so that they can say, I have a shop. Wait a minute. Yes. I have a shop, because now you want us to feel that we are entitled. I'm doing my humble submission in a way that let them show us my industry, is in Mandera, and I'm producing these 1, 2, 3 things, but my customers cannot get here because the road is bad. Then you tell the government you failed, because this thing might escalate to 41 or 42 against 1.
And you have made a very good submission. But very quickly, let me just do a follow-up question. And you say government develops people, it doesn't develop regions. If my neighbor lives like about 3 kilometers away from where I am, yes, and those are people, would you say then that developing a road that will enable me either to get the shopping center or to get to my neighbor isn't developing me?
What are you doing with your neighbor? What activities that is productive in economy? Because we are dealing with the economy that is useful. Do you want just to save your neighbor because he's a person?
Get this right, eh? We are talking about the government does not develop people.
Yes.
I totally disagree with you.
Yes.
Okay.
One thing, let us take a classical example today. The railway have started going to Nanyuki from Nairobi.
Yes.
How many Kenyans from our region knows what to do or to invest in to benefit from that train?
Why is it going to Nanyuki?
Just a minute. How many Kenyans, how many young people know where to invest so that they can benefit from that rail? Ama ni kuona tu watakuwa na rail. You get?
Young people don't start. Let me tell you. Let me finish.
I'll give you a point of reply.
No. Let me finish. The government have a responsibility to build human capacity. That's one.
Okay.
2, the government have responsibility to ensure that if the train is coming this way, as they did to give us the economic stimulus, align the people, align the people with the vision of the country, so that when that program comes, they are able to start the benefit of that.
In simple,
I want to graduate you.
And I'll give you.
Let me graduate
just
you.
Hold on a minute.
No. Let me graduate Maina.
Allow me to
Just for a minute. Just a minute. Let me.
You don't tell me for a minute. Listen, you're simply saying that government develops people and regions.
Yes.
Both. Make your argument.
Thank you, JJ. Now, the point is this. Maina, you're a young man. There's something, an element we call education. The government regulates and gives you education. You go from a basic education and you go, you do your college education so that you learn something that can help you in you.
That's why
It is not a responsibility of a government to come and pick you from the house.
That's why.
Wait a minute.
That's why we are wrong.
Let me say.
Responsibility
Let me
of
say.
government to pick you-
It is not responsibility of your government to come pick you from your house after
No,
you
no, 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 no,
graduated.
no, no, no.
Wait, and take you and give you a desk to work on. It is your
That's why we are getting.
responsibility.
Let me give you a critical example.
Education.
No.
Let me tell you.
Let me give you an
Maina,
example. I'll
Maina,
give a good example.
I've been there. I know what will happen.
No.
Let me tell you. Listen. Now, after you get your education, use your hand and your brain to gain
You want-
and
you-
build an
you are-
industry.
Guys,
you are
I want
telling-
us to
you are
escalate this
telling me-
conversation. Let's move from there. You've made your points, fair enough. Jimmy Kagoni, I want to hear your views as regards this entitlement. This entitlement by the region called Mount Kenya. That you think you're the ones who bake the cake, and therefore when it comes to sharing it, it should be you that decides how it should be divided.
There is no cake.
I think there's no cake still.
Well, and it is true, perhaps there is no cake. I saw an argument by Bill Okero.
Yes.
And what he was trying to say is that Mount Kenya has actually had the entitlement to feel like they are the one who have been contributing to the GDP
Alright.
a lot, which is not really the case. Now, I really would not want, maybe somebody needs to check and see exactly what Bill Okero was saying. Maybe the question would be here, are we saying that you need to get as much as you contribute? Is that maybe the ideology we are trying to advance? And let's use an example of America.
Yes.
How do they deal with the taxes? The Republicans, most of the time they say, just make sure that the big boys are not really punished for purposes of just being the big boys, so to speak. The Democrats, on the other side, they say, tax more to the people who are having more so that you can be able to benefit the raw guy there. Now, if that concept and that context was actually to be brought in Kenya, it would actually be exactly what we are discussing about the revenue sharing formula. Because there is, on one side, there is a group that is saying, I mean, these are the people who have been privileged for many years. And perhaps that is why the resources are more coming from their side. So could they just be generous enough to ensure that the others who have not been privileged this much are able to get as much? Now, where on the other side, what Mount Kenya is really talking about, and I really wanted to address the issue of entitlement, they are really saying, okay, just like now the capitalists, the Republicans themselves, we are the people who are baking the highest percentage of this cake. Can we also enjoy? Yes. Yes, we brought the sugar, okay, maybe the sugar from somewhere else, but we brought the wheat, we brought whatever, and else. Can we now have our fair share about it? It is a similar discussion. Why I'm saying so is so that we don't really feel lost and think that this is actually a developing kind of a country discussion, so to speak. This is a discussion that is there even in America. I mean, when it comes to how to deal with the taxes and the economy of the country, you'll always find that is one point of departure when it comes to Democrats and the Republicans. But however, this is what I would want to say. There is a feeling of entitlement, maybe, by the Mount Kenya region. By the virtue, they also feel that they are the ones who have been contributing the largest part of this cake. That feeling, to me, and I would want to address the people of Mount Kenya, they should not feel sorry about it, so to speak. They should not feel sorry. Let's advance the discussion. However, may I also tell the people of Mount Kenya this way. The people of Kiambu are complaining that there are no places to build and to expand in Kiambu. So they have already advanced to Kajiado. They have already now started to advance to Kitui, to Machakos, and to the other places. They are already complaining that this place where we belong is a bit small. Okay? Now, may I tell the people of Mount Kenya, while you think Kajiado could not be your place now, and it lags behind, 5 years to come, 10 years to come, you might be the resident in Kajiado, and you request those resources that you thought were benefiting.
Fantastic, a very fair point you make. But I want us to, because I see my director has his eyes really on me, and I want to engage you, Maina, very quickly, because there's almost a general consensus amongst
And has to
leaders,
come from
just to make-
Kagoni to myself, then Minor, so that we can. I should not do an rejoiner always. I need to have a discussion that comes from Yoke. Continue.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You don't dictate. You don't dictate how we run the show. Anyway, it's a fair point to make. Anyway. But look, there appears to be a general consensus amongst leaders that this conversation is likely to threaten the existence of peace in the Republic of Kenya. But I'm just thinking about the handshake, because this is the pet subject of every leader. Is, either we support handshake or we don't support handshake. And we have seen where Raila Odinga and his lieutenants are in terms of, and we had the senator from Murang'a, Irombo Kangata, the chief whip, say, you know what, guys, there's no need for us then to support the handshake of the BBI. If this formula, one man, one vote shilling, one man, one vote, one shilling, doesn't go through. So the place of the handshake moving forward, very quickly, that's a very political question.
I think it's very unfortunate for our country. For quite some times, we have not found a ground whereby we can be sure that there will be peace. Either Raila is in the government or out of government. Either Ruto will be in government or out of government. You see, from time immemorial, peace in our country is built just upon individuals. And it's very risky and shaky. You get the point? So I think we should ask ourselves question, and that was one of the aim of the devolution, such that we are done with the hunger for power, for hunger for the presidency, so that you are getting the resources on the ground, you are seeing development on the ground, not only focusing on the president's seat. So I think the handshakes is written by this formula, because for now, the feeling in Mount Kenya region is, maybe Raila is sympathizing with those regions that seem to be losing by proposing the win-win formula. Two, I think the perspective from the ground is that maybe the handshake was just a scam. You get? I have found so many people talk, maybe it was a scam, it's not genuine, it's just to rally the Mount Kenya behind Raila Odinga, maybe for his own benefit. After that, then we are left naked again. So I think it's written, and it may not survive for long.
All right.
Yes.
Kamau, is a very big supporter of the handshake. I would want to hear
of
you
course.
that's the future of the handshake.
On the matter of handshake, this one I want to be very clear.
Yes.
Whether that third best formula did what it did, John meant, or where they want to take it, handshake is here with us to stay. One, the relationship that President Uhuru Kenyatta and Prime Minister Raila Odinga had or has and will continue is one. It is here to stay and to work together. My friend here, Maina, says peace and other things are built upon individuals. In politics, the most scary part that people don't want to hear is about interest. Politics is about interest. If you don't have any interest in politics, you leave it. Go do your farming, go do teaching, and wait for the politician to do their political things. What we've done as a country, we've come to cover. You're a doctor, you're a farmer, you're a teacher, you're a driver, but you're still a politician, which means we are all political human, or what do you call it, animals. The thing is, where President Uhuru Kenyatta and Prime Minister Raila Odinga will say, personally as a person and as so many people I know, where they say we go is where we are going to go. And that does not mean that BBI is going to fail. I tell people, there's something, I've watched the maneuver between leaders from Western to Eastern to Nyanza to Central, where they put. I want Kenyans to listen to what Atuoli is saying, and what Atuoli is saying is what is going to happen. Whether the Senate,
now we are listening to Atuoli.
We are listening to Atuoli because Atuoli is the first person who talked of in a sitting like where we are seated today. He said, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Prime Minister Raila Odinga, you guys should get together and see. Wait a minute.
Because I want us to wind up, I don't have time. Come out very quickly, and I want you to make this submission in 30 seconds.
Yes.
The political compass of this country is with Francis Atuoli. That's what you're saying.
The compass of this country, by large, is what Atuoli would say. Listen, if Atuoli says, wait a minute, JJ, listen. If Atuoli says that,
no.
Let me say, if Atuoli says that Deputy President William Ruto will be impeached, take that to the bank. William Ruto will be
then-
impeached.
then-
Wait a minute,
no,
it's
no,
just
no, no,
saying.
no,
Let me say,
don't
let
do
me
this
finish.
then. No,
Let
just
me
a
let me
minute.
finish my
Just a
submission.
minute, just a
Let me
minute.
say. Now, when we started, there were times that Murkomen and the team were very powerful.
Don't
Wait
do
a minute, wait a minute. Atwoli told them, hold your horses. And he told William Ruto, I want you to get this, that you man, listen to what Uhuru Kenyatta is saying, listen to what Raila Odinga is saying.
So
For now,
don't you
let me
think,
say,
just a
okay.
minute, don't you think then we are acting like a banana republic? Instead of following the system and institutions, you want us to follow Atwoli. Who is Atwoli?
Guys, let's agree. Let's agree. You have your own point of view. The political compass is with Francis Atwoli. Very quickly on the future of the handshake, because this is where the conversation was, so that we can end this debate.
The future of the handshake is totally threatened.
Yes.
I am not sure whether it is going to hold after this, because when you find actually the proponent of the handshake themselves, they are the one now who are threatening to step out, then you know very well the rains are near.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, this Atwoli guy needs water.
This Atwoli guy needs water,
It is
yes.
some ginger.
You know
But
what
I'm
the guy-
telling
you
you,
know
I'm
what the guy
telling you,
says?
I want you to
You
get
know what
this.
the guy says?
Yes.
Shanzi son.
Senzi son. So, and he's a Kanu member, so watch the space.
All right, we're ending up the conversation. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you again for watching Taifa Dialogues. As usual, we'll be here every Friday. We'll always be here on Tuesdays every single day. We're looking at daytime on Tuesday, and then on Friday around this time. And thank you very much for your comments. We really appreciate them. Thank you very much for watching. We're coming to you live from Lily's Hotel, just adjacent to SCK Juja. Drop in, like I said. You can have a meal. You can seek a rest here. It's one of the most beautiful places you can ever think about around Juja. My name is John Jacob K. Thank you very much, Maina. Thank you very much, Kamau. And thank you, Jimmy Kagoni, for being around. And God bless you. Have yourself a good night, all of you and our viewers. Bye. Bye. Atwoli.
Atwoli guy.
Yeah, Atwoli.